Hey, shalom everybody. Welcome back to Savtah Racayah's channel for body safety. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're all well. To get us started on this topic, today we're going to talk about three specific points. One is going to be about anatomy, the importance of using the proper terms when teaching our younger children, teaching our children about body safety. The second topic will cover the difference between secrets and surprises and making sure that our children understand that and understand why it is that we do not keep secrets. And the third topic for today is going to be about building the relationships that we need to have with our children, the level of trust that we need to have with our children to ensure that they will come to us when or if something happens. Again, as I stated in my introductory video, I am not the expert on this. I am merely a mother, a grandmother, a parent that didn't protect my children. And if there's something that I can do to help someone else, some information that I can share, that is what I will be about doing. So if you have suggestions that may not be covered in these points, please feel free to share them. So let's get started with our first topic for today. The importance of teaching our children proper anatomy, the proper names for their body parts, okay? We have a tendency to be afraid, apprehensive about using the proper names for our body parts, for our private body parts, and teaching those names to our children as if they don't exist. We give them little nicknames. I'm sure you all can give a whole slew of nicknames, that we have, the honey pot, the cookie, the wee-wee, the pee-pee, whatever you all, I'm sure everybody has their names, share in the comments what name you all use. But it is imperative that we teach our children the proper names for these body parts so that if something happens, they have the tools and the keys to share that information with someone that can help them. There are numerous accounts of children coming to maybe a counselor or a teacher or someone that may not be familiar with the slang terms that someone in a specific family or community may use, and try and get some help, but the person doesn't understand. It's like, oh, my uncle touched my cookie. Okay, somebody that's not using the term cookie is not going to understand that you're talking about the vagina. You're talking about a private body part. Somebody touched my wee-wee, A lot of people know wee-wee, but if you didn't know that, you might think it's a toy. Okay, what rock did you crawl under to not understand wee-wee? But you get my point, that children really need to understand and know these names and what they're used for. And we sort of make it almost like a taboo by not teaching them the proper names. Like that's, hush, hush, something we shouldn't talk about. But when you're teaching our babies, when they're little and we're goo goo gaga and we're nose, eyes, and having them repeat in their learning, it is nothing wrong with actually putting those other private body parts in there. Vagina, penis, ears, you don't make a big deal out of it. And then you teach the children that these are what these parts are. So if that situation happens, and it happens way too often, we cannot pretend as if the sexual molestation and sexual abuse of children is not happening. Come off that. We know that it's happening, and it's happening in every race of people, every culture of people, every religious group, every economic and social level. It's not specific to one community or one set of people. It's happening across the board, and it's happening way too much. We have to empower and strengthen our children by giving them the keys and the tools. That is one of the keys and tools that you hear in every conference, seminar, workshop you go into. It's one of the things that they always talk about, teaching the children the proper name. So parents, you got to go ahead and parent up and go ahead and begin teaching those things, having those conversations. If your children are 7, 8, 9, 10 already and you haven't taught them those things, sit down and have that conversation with them and explain what those parts are, what they are used for, age appropriate, what they're used for. The fact that, okay, we don't just run around saying penis, 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 and vagina, vagina, vagina. Obviously, teach them how to use those terms, but they need to know those terms. If something should happen and a report has to be filed or given, it definitely helps to know what those words are. Okay, so that's point number one: anatomy, teaching the proper terms for our private body parts. And in addition, making sure your children understand where the private body parts, the no touch zones are. You can go, say, from the t-shirt area, underwear area, if that's what you want to tell them, or the bathing suit area for, those that wear the bikini bathing suits, or a one-piece bathing suit. Those areas are the no-touch zones. Those are the private body parts that no one has a right to touch, a right to look at, or to ask you as the child to touch or look at theirs. Okay, is that clear? Everybody clear on that? If not, send me questions. We'll go into more detail. In addition to the body parts that we've already mentioned, as far as the t-shirt, underwear area, another area that has been added in the years I've been studying child safety for the last 11 years, one of the areas that has been added in a lot lately that should have been from the very beginning is the mouth. Even though the mouth is something that we use every day and you wouldn't think of that as a private body part, with so many people participating in oral sex, and many times before there is any actual penetration between the vagina and penis, there is the mouth that is used for having children perform oral sex on the adult or the older person, having performing oral sex on the child. So the mouth also, we have to make sure that we teach our children about what our mouths are for. We have to make sure our babies understand that. Okay. And let me not forget the anal sex, okay? The anus is another area. So, and the breast, making sure that our children understand that that's not an area that is to be touched. We talk about the chest, the t-shirt area, but the breast and the anus, all of these areas have to be taught to our children that they are not to be touched, they are not to be looked at, and we are not to touch or look at others in an inappropriate way, okay? Something else that's not one of the three topics we talked about today, but that has to be said, is the importance of making sure that in teaching our children about body safety, that we don't plant a seed that sex is a taboo, sex is bad, sex is no good. If it wasn't for sex, none of us would be here. That's the reality. But giving our children a healthy understanding about the beauty and joy of proper sex at the proper time. It is not for children, okay? It is for consenting adults. Consenting, keyword, consensual, consenting adults. A child cannot consent. Even if a child says yes to something legally, he or she is not legally allowed to consent to anything, okay? But I don't want us to give our children an impression that sex is something that they should be afraid of when it's time for it, that it's something that is forbidden when it's time for it. It can be enjoyable, pleasurable, wonderful when interacted in properly and at the right time. So, okay, that's something we also have to make sure that we share with our children. We don't want to raise children and when they get older, they have a terrible sex life and their intimacy levels, and that's just a whole nother level of issues, okay? The second point that I said we would touch on today is knowing the difference between a secret and a surprise, and teaching our children not to keep secrets. Okay, so a secret is something that when you tell a child, you got to keep this a secret, this is between me and you, don't tell anybody else, teach your children not to keep secrets from you, that anyone tells them to keep that secret. Whether it's a if they threaten them, if they promise them money, if they promise them food, if they like, you gonna be cool, me, we cool, you can't tell nobody. A secret is something that will make the child feel like, sometimes like they're getting special treatment or make them feel afraid. But the biggest difference between a secret and a surprise is a secret that is never ever going to be told. It can never be told. It should never be shared. A surprise is something that eventually is going to be told. A surprise would be something like, okay, we're going to have a surprise birthday party for Savtah. We're making her a cake, we're buying a surprise gift for your brother who just achieved this, that, or the other. And so we're going to get him a bike, but it's a surprise. So we want to make them happy. We want to surprise them. That's a surprise. A surprise is going to be told eventually, but a secret is something that's held on to. And we have to teach our children not to keep secrets. Now, this might step on some toes, but the reality, parents, is that sometimes some of y'all have the tendency to have a child keep a secret from the other parent. Okay? Not a surprise, a secret from the other parent because of whatever issues you two as adults may be going through. Well, we're not going to tell daddy this, or we're not going to tell mommy this, or we're not going to tell Abba this, or we're not going to tell Ima that, and we're not going to tell Savtah or Saba. When you set your children up to keep secrets, and somebody else comes along and asks them to keep a secret, and they're already feeling a certain kind of way about keeping that secret from the other parent, and then somebody else comes along, we set them up to become victims. Okay, so that's something that we have to be conscious of. Again, this is just some basic information. It's not going into a lot of depth or detail. When we go into the Zoom workshop, we can have more information, more discussion, more detail. Okay, are we clear? Everybody understand? If not, send me the questions. All right, and we'll go over it. And the third and last point for today's video was building those relationships and that trust that we need with our children so that they can feel comfortable coming to us with whatever it is that has happened. A lot of times as parents, we are so busy, especially if we're single parents. And we're so busy running around trying to pay the bills, trying to work a job, trying to be both parents, if in the cases where it's a single parent, and even sometimes when it's two parents, your responsibilities outside of the home or whatever else that you're doing may be such that you become short-tempered or frustrated with your children, and you don't listen to them. I don't mean talk to them, I mean listen to them, and I mean listen attentively. I don't mean you're listening and you're on your phone at the same time. You're listening and you're cooking, although we can do that sometimes, but when you're listening and doing something else and you're not fully engaged with your child and fully listening, our babies pick that up. They're not stupid. They know. She half listening, She ain't really listening to me. So we have to make sure that our children know that they have a safe place to come to. That we listen, that we sit down and we actively listen to them. And we listen with the intent of hearing and feeling what they are saying, not for the intent of responding immediately. And sometimes you might have to sit and think about what it is that they say and don't give an immediate response. And if you don't know, don't be embarrassed to tell your children, baby, I don't know, but Ima's going to go and check. Savtah's going to go and check. Abba's going to go and check. And I'm going to get back to you and get back to them. Having the relationship with our children where we're not cussing, screaming, hollering at our children, derogatory comments made toward their children. We never call our children stupid, dumb, ignorant, and any of the other 4 or 5 letter words that are attached to that. These are not the things that we do to build strong, healthy adults. And that starts with building strong, healthy, confident children. Okay, so these are just a few tips. Make sure that you engage with your children, spend quality time with your children. Quality time means all of the focus is on you all that energy is on you. It makes a world of difference. I was a single mom for a lot of my children's youth. I was working. I was pursuing a degree. I was, involved with other activities outside the home. That's not to say that I didn't mother my children. I did. But there's more that I could have done. There's more that I should have done. Okay? And so I'm saying to this to you all as parents, if no one else has told you, stop, and consider these things. So I hope that the information that has been shared today is helpful, useful, that you will sit down and talk with your children about these things, share this information. Again, please hit like and subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so that you can get notifications whenever a new video comes out. Put your comments in the comment box, please, by all means. And let's continue this dialogue, and let's keep our babies safe. Let's keep our babies happy. So I'm signing off for today. Savtah Racayah saying see you all later, and y'all have a blessed day. Bye.